Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Welcome to another edition of Front and Center, where we put very significant issues affecting our country, the Philippines, as our program title says, Front and Center. On behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, I am your host for today, Steph Vicente, joining you all for a 30-minute worth of talk discussing important matters with our government officials, people from the private sector, or even members of the academe. As seen through our video live streaming, you may watch and listen to Front and Center through our Facebook page. Just search Radyo Pilipinas World Service. The same goes for our YouTube channel. Meanwhile, we also have an audio live streaming thanks to the Evox PBS Receiver app. You may download the said app via Google Play Store if you are using an Android phone, or via App Store if you have a phone or a phone which has an iOS. Now, what are we going to discuss here in today's edition of our program, Front and Center? Just yesterday, July 8, 2025, the key findings or results of the May 2025 Labor Force Survey have been published. Persons in the labor force are those aged 15 years and over who are either employed or unemployed. Let me just read some of the highlights for better context. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, the country's labor force participation rate or LFPR in May 2025 was estimated at 65.8%, higher than the estimated LFPR in May 2024 in May 2024 at 64.8% and in April 2025 at 63.7%. The reported LP or LFPR in May 2025 translates to a total of 52.32 million Filipinos aged 15 years and over who were in the labor force, the highest recorded number since April of the year 2005. In May 2024, the number of individuals aged 15 years old and over who were in the labor force was 50.97 million, while 50.74 million in April 2025. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate slowed down to 3.9% in May 2025 from its rate in May 2024 and in the previous month, which were both at 4.1%, while the employment rate in May 2025 increased to 96.1% from its rate in May 2024 and in April 2025, which were both at 95.9%. In terms of levels, the number of unemployed Filipinos in May 2025 was posted at 2.03 million. This was lower than the number of unemployed Filipinos in May 2024 at 2.11 million and in April 2025 at 2.06 million. On the other aspect, the number of employed Filipinos in May 2025 rose to 50.29 million from 48.87 million in May 2024 and 48.67 million in the previous month. The top 5 subsectors in terms of annual increase in the number of employed Filipinos in May 2025 were the following: wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles with 489,000. Agriculture and Forestry with 469,000. Administrative and support service activities with 371,000, accommodation and food service activities with 365,000, and other service activities with 175,000. In contrast, the following five subsectors posted the highest annual decreases in the number of employed Filipinos: manufacturing with negative 374,000, construction with construction with negative 298,000, mining and quarrying with negative 82,000, public administration and defense compulsory social security with negative 54,000, and water supply, sewerage, waste management, and remediation activities with negative 50,000. Seeing these figures, we could all say that there has been an improvement when it comes to the labor force in the Philippines. But what might be the factors behind these figures? What does the May 2025 Labor Force Survey imply? To know more about the May 2025 Labor Force Survey, we will now be joined by OIC Assistant Secretary Patri Wirawan of the Philippine Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE. ASEC, welcome to our program, Front and Center. Again, this is Steph Vicente of Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning to you, Steph, and to all your viewers and listeners, and thank you for having us, the Department of Labor and Employment, to share with you updates on labor and employment.
Thank you very much again, ASEC, for joining us here in our program. I'll go straight to our first question. As mentioned earlier, the Philippines has reached its highest recorded labor force participation rate since April of the year 2005 at 65.8% in May 2025. From the perspective of DOLE, what are the factors that might have led to this kind of record?
Thank you, Steph. And of course, we continue to monitor the results of the labor force survey uh, from the Philippine Statistics Authority. And we take note of these very good results in this month's reporting. And as we continue to see improvements, no, we have been monitoring the results since the start of this administration. And we've been seeing consistent performance. And we're really looking forward to being able to surpass this momentum. No? And we see that as you have mentioned earlier in your brief report, no, we have an increase in the labor force participation. This monthly report of the labor force survey, and that is as according to the Philippine Statistics Authority's report, that is mainly due, of course, to seasonal demand driven by, of course, in the agriculture sector, particularly in the harvest of corn, paddy rice, and spices. And aside from that, another perspective in terms of age demographics from our labor force, we see a large number of new entrants being taking part or participating actively in the labor market, and a large part of that, as reported, has already been employed. So these developments are of course, welcome to the department, and we're really looking forward to how we can contribute to upskilling, reskilling the workforce, and making them more employable.
Mm-mm-mm. As also mentioned earlier, ASEC, based from the PSA labor force survey, the employment rate reached 96.1% in May 2025 compared to 95.9% in the past year. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate slowed down to 3.9% compared to the 4.1% recorded in May 2024. What has been the role of DOLE in making sure that more Filipinos would be employed, most especially maybe in the coming months or in the coming years?
Thank you, Steph, and we welcome that question. because of course primarily the mandate of the DOLE, particularly the Bureau of Local Employment, is to make sure that access to employment opportunities is available for all our labor force or workforce. No? And to that extent, we make sure, number one, our public employment service offices are open to all our job seekers, no, whether they are returning OFWs, long-term unemployed, displaced workers, even our groups or members in the vulnerable sector, including our PWDs and senior citizens. And all these types of job seekers are open or are welcome to access opportunities through our public employment service offices lodged in the different municipalities, cities, and provinces. Aside
Mm-mm.
from our pesos, of course, we make sure that we have our youth employability programs that increase employability of our youth beneficiaries. And as I've mentioned earlier, we have seen an increase in the number of new entrants in the labor force, and we're really looking forward to see how our interventions are contributing to this very good indicators in the labor market. We have our government internship program, our special program for employment of students, and of course, our Job Start Philippines program. All these youth employability programs continue to provide upskilling, reskilling interventions for our youth beneficiaries so that they become more hireable, more employable, and ready to be employed in the labor market. Of course, aside from that, we also have our career development support program, which guides all our students, all our job seekers to find the opportunities or vacancies that are relevant in terms of their skills, competencies, knowledge, and of course their educational background and all qualifications that they hold. All the all these are aligned with the vacancy requirements of our employers. And of course, that is guided by our public employment service offices managers, even our career advocates, guidance counselors in the school setting. And of course, we make sure that our HR practitioners are also onboarded. And so all these actors in the career development support program provide interventions that guide our job seekers overall to make them access these employment opportunities.
Mm-mm. Asek, I'm just curious if there would be upcoming job fairs for the rest of the year because we all know that, of course, Dole spearheaded job fairs during the Labor Day and then during the just Independence Day last June 12. So are or could we expect more job fairs to be spearheaded or conducted by Dole as we go on this year?
Yes, Steph, definitely. And just to share with you, the management of the job fair program nationwide is, of course, in partnership and in collaboration with our public employment service offices nationwide. So all our pesos, through their respective LGUs, no, organize separate job fair activities, and even industry associations, non-government organizations, even the private sector. All these organize their specific job fair activities, and all of these are coursed through our pesos. And so we continue to monitor this as part of the directive of the president and in line with the directions and guidance of our Secretary, Benvenido Laguesma, to make sure that all our job fair activities are accessible to our job seekers. We have convenient venues available for them, and that we have more participating employers posting vacancies offering these employment opportunities. Aside from that, of course, we make sure that we have one-stop shop services for all our job seekers who are participating in the series of job fairs we do monthly nationwide. And just to give you an update, we have reported already a number of job fair activities enrolled in our PhilJobNet. You can visit our online portal, philjobnet.gov.ph, for the list of job fair activities. But just to mention a few, no, we have uh, for July 10, that's tomorrow, no, we have three job fair activities organized by Peso Suwal in Pangasinan,
Mm-mm.
Sorsogon State University, and even the provincial peso in Negros Oriental. That's for tomorrow. And we have a number of job fair activities for the whole month of July. All these are registered in our PhilJobNet. You can visit the website and see the details where these job fair activities will be held. Aside from that, part of the instruction of the Secretary is to strengthen our partnership with industry associations and the private sector. And so we make sure that our job fair activities are targeted and sectoral. And we have been collaborating with a number of industry associations. That includes the IT BPM sector, the healthcare sector, even the education through DepEd for the senior high school students, and of course with the DTI in the different industry associations that they oversee. We have been collaborating with them and scheduling a number of job fair activities for their respective sectors.
Okay, Asek, we have to put you on standby as we give way to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. So we'll get back to you and we will continue the interview after the presidential event. So here is Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Masaya itong mga event na ito dahil sa wakas yung marami sa ating mga LGU at mga cities at saka municipalities na hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa nagkaroon ng ambulansya, na hindi pa nagkaroon ng ganitong patient transport vehicle, ay magkakaroon na. At yung pang hindi pa nabigyan ay magkakaroon din. At asahan ninyo, ang pangako sa akin, ang instruction ko, kay GM Mel Robles, ay sabi ko sa kanya, kailangan by the end of the year, masabi na natin, by the end of 2025, masabi natin na lahat na ng cities and municipalities ay nabigyan na natin nitong patient transport vehicle. Kung titignan nyo po, ay talagang pinili namin na mabuti itong ating ginagamit na modelo para sa patient transport vehicle. Marami tayong pinag-iisipan. Naalala ko ng gobernur ako, marami kasi tayong marami kaming mga kababayan, marami kaming kailan na nasa Amerika. So humihingi kami ng tulong. Pinagdadalang kami yung magagandang ambulansya na kanina nakikita mo sa sine na malalaki. Very grateful naman kami dahil napakaganda at napakamahal, hindi kayang bilhin ng probinsya. Ngunit, noong nagkaroon ng emergency, yung mga malalaki na yon ay hindi nababagay doon, lalo na doon sa mga maliliit na bayan kung saan maliit lang ang daan. Nag-uusap nga kayo ni Mayor Isko, sabi na lalo dito sa Manila, puro iskinita yan, hindi makapasok. Kaya pinili namin itong modelong ito na very appropriate, na tamang-tama para sa Pilipinas. Hindi lamang dahil, yun na nga, nakakapunta kahit saan, kung saan nangangailangan ng transport vehicle. Ngunit, pati na yung modelo na ito, madaling i-maintain, laging may pyesa, kahit sino na medyo marunong-runong na mekaniko, kaya nilang ayusin kung magka-problema. Kaya naasahan ko na pag-turnover namin sa ating mga LGU, kayo na munang bahala. Alagaan ninyo na mabuti ito. Tatagal ito ng matagal, basta't alagaan natin na mabuti. Kahit gamit na gamit yan. Meron na kaming experience doon sa mga una naming na ibigay. Basta't inaalagaan na mabuti, tama ang pag-service, tama ang paggamit, pagka nangangailangan ng pyesa, palitan kaagad. At nakita naman namin na basta we look after the vehicles, ito itatagal ng matagal. Kaya we are very happy now to be able to do this dahil dito sa administrasyong ito, karapatan ng bawat nating kababayan na Pilipino na magkaroon ng ganitong klaseng serbisyo. Pinapatibay nga natin ang buong healthcare services. Nag-meeting lang kami tungkol sa budget sa DOH, tungkol sa budget ng PhilHealth, tungkol sa lahat ng mga serbisyong ibinibigay, tungkol sa mga insurance, upang buuhin namin ang magandang healthcare system. At meron naman tayo maraming natutunan nung panahon ng COVID. Dahil nung panahon ng COVID, nakita natin ano yung pagkukulang ng ating healthcare system. Saan ang kailangan ayusin? Sino ang pwede nating asahan? All of these things, in-apply namin dito sa aming programa. Hindi lamang dito sa transport vehicles, kung hindi pati na sa ating buong healthcare system, pati nating mga ospital, pati nga yung PhilHealth. So, ito ay isang bahagi lamang sa pagpapatibay natin ng ating healthcare system. Dinala ko ito, ang ating accounting statistics, ang na-distribute na ng mula noong June 2022 to 2025, nakapag-distribute na tayo ng 680 na ganito, na PTV across the whole Philippines. Ngayon, ang nandito sa harap ninyo, 395, is that correct? 397 na vehicles. Hindi pa ako bumababa sa sasakyan, pinagmamalaki na ni Mel Robles na it is the biggest in the world na pagbigay ng ganito. Well, nagulat din ako dahil hindi naman yun ang habol natin. Ang habol lang natin, ang habol ko talaga ay lahat ng ating LGU, lahat ng ating mga municipalities ay magkaroon. Kaya, sa 680 PTVs, tapos na yan. Ngayong araw na ito, meron tayong 387 na ipamimigay, but this is for Luzon. Kasabay nito, na ipamimigay din natin, meron din tayong 123 para sa Eastern Visayas at 105 sa Mindanao. Kasama dito sa batch na ito, yun ay maibibigay na natin. Kung maalala ninyo, we have 149 cities, 1,493 municipalities, which makes 1,642 cities and municipalities in the Philippines. Kaya, pag natapos natin lahat ito, by the end of the year, masasabi na natin, lahat ng city and municipality ay nabigyan na natin ng ating patient transport vehicle. Ang plano natin sa susunod, dahil siyempre yung ibang bayan, mas malaki sa ibang bayan, yung city, mas malaki sa ibang city, titignan ngayon natin kung ano yung pangangailangan. We have to base it already on the population ng bawat lugar. So, yung malalaki talaga, kahit nabigyan ng isa, kailangan balikan natin dahil sa laki ng kanilang populasyon, kailangan natin maserbisyuhan lahat. Kaya yun ang babalikan natin. We now have today, in Luzon, sa Ilocos 30, Cagayan Valley 72, Central Luzon 100, Calabarzon 27, Mimaropa 59, Bicol Region 64, at Ancar 35. So, this is an ongoing program. Ito ay nagkataon lang na this is a release for most of Luzon. But we will continue to do this and hindi namin ititigil ito hanggat lahat ng pangangailangan ng ating mga LGU ay nabigyan na natin, natugunan na natin ang kanilang requirement para dito sa mga patient transport vehicle na ito. Kaya ipagpapatuloy namin ang pagpapatibay, hindi lamang sa paramihan nitong transport vehicle, kundi pati na ang buong health system natin, buong healthcare system natin. Inaayos natin ang ating mga ospital, linagyan na natin ng mga specialty centers. Meron tayo ng bago, yung tinatawag na bukas na center para sa mga karamdaman na hindi naman kailangan na ma-ospital, na ma-confine. Lahat po yan. Yung PhilHealth, pinaparami natin ang insurance coverage, pinaparami natin ang serbisyong ibinibigay ng PhilHealth, binababaan natin ang payment, ang bayad. Kasi kahit papano, yung pasyente, pagka magpapatingin o magpapagaling, ay meron pa rin kontribusyon. Dahan-dahan namin babawasan yung kontribusyon ng pasyente. At kung tayo magawa natin, pag naayos natin ang ating ekonomiya na mabuti at kaya na natin, ay kaya naman siguro natin, wala nang kontribusyon ng pasyente. Bigyan na lang natin ng siguro yung kagaya sa ibang lugar na nakikita ko, na nasubukan ko, administrative cost lang. Wala yun, mga 100 piso yun. Tama na yun. Yun lang ang siguro na ibigay nila. Yun lang, that is the aspiration. At the moment, yung sistema natin is not sufficient para ating magawa yun. Siyempre, yung pondo lagi kulang. But, minamanayobra natin, minamasahe natin ang budget ng mabuti para naman mapabilis ang pagpaganda ng health service para sa ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat. Congratulations sa mga LGU.
Thank you, Mr. President. And that concludes our program. Thank you, Mr. President.
And we just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Just for a background regarding the presidential event, our president joined the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office or PCSO in distributing patient transport vehicles or PTVs to various local government units or LGUs in Luzon during a ceremony as you have seen at the Quirino Grandstand in the city of Manila. Now, we're back to our interview with OIC Assistant Secretary Patrick Wirawan of the Department of Labor and Employment. Asek, welcome back to the program. Okay, so I guess you Okay. Okay. So we proceed to the third question. The underemployment rate, as mentioned earlier, reached 13.1% in May 2025 compared to the 9.9% recorded in the previous year, which is May 2024. What is the implication of this?
Thank you, Steph. And of course, we continue to monitor this labor market indicator, underemployment rate, throughout the year. And we wanted to, of course, clarify that whenever we monitor underemployment rate, it always has two sides, no? The the positive and the negative implication. And we're seeing, of course, that while there is an increase in the number of underemployed individuals, it tells us that a number of our Filipino workers are looking for additional work hours. It contributes, of course, to a great extent to our economy. But on the other side of the picture, of course, we see that it somehow reflects the kind of job or the quality of job that they have. And these are the two sides whenever we monitor the underemployment indicator. And of course, interventions are in place to make sure that we have our Filipino workers continue to upskill and reskill and improve increase their employability by acquiring new skills in seeking additional work hours on the one side, and of course making sure that the jobs that are being created on the labor demand side are of course of quality and decent, and of course are compliant with the labor standards. And so these are the two aspects that we continue to monitor when we see or when we hear the report from PSA on progress in our underemployment performance.
Okay, Asek, as a follow-up regarding that, um, regarding your response, what are the upskilling programs or trainings that the DOLE could provide for our kababayans to further increase their employability?
Thank you, Steph. And of course, on the part of Dole, we have three different agencies working on that regard. On the first part, our Bureau of Local Employment is overseeing youth employability programs that provide soft and core skills or equipping soft and core skills for our youth beneficiaries, those who have undergone government internship, special program for employment of students, and job start programs. They are able to acquire these initial work experience that can help them become more employable in the labor market, especially those who have recently graduated or those out of school or youth not in employment, education, and training. The second part is for our workforce who have already graduated or who have already finished their studies, and they see that there is a need for them to undergo or take more training, especially for those who are seeking additional work hours. If that will require them new skill sets, we have our TESDA who
Mm.
oversees skills development, training, education, skills training, and vocational education programs, no? And of course, they implement this in partnership with our TechVoc institutions nationwide. We also do that in partnership with our PESOs, who refer our job seekers to these TVIs or TechVoc institutions. And of course, on the last part, we have the PRC, Professional Regulation Commission, who oversee, of course, the development of our professionals and make sure that all our professionals and the regulated professions nationwide uh, have the appropriate competencies, and are able to ensure that our professionals continue to be employable and continue to increase their competencies, of course, with regard to the requirements in the different professions. So these three agencies take care of our workforce and make sure that across different life stages, no, we have appropriate interventions for them to make them more employable and hireable.
Okay, Asik. Aside from those which you have mentioned, what are the other flagship programs of DOLE that could make sure our country's labor force participation rate will continue to rise in the coming months or years?
Thank you, Steph. And we, of course, make sure, no, that we closely monitor the increase in labor force participation as it is part of our target in the Philippine Development Plan and in the Labor and Employment Plan that is also enrolled in our Trabajo para sa Bayan Plan, which was recently launched by the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, co-chaired also by the Department of Trade and Industry and the Department of Labor and Employment. And under the Trabajo para sa Bayan plan, no, we need to be able to make sure that all aspects or all sides of the labor market are provided with enabling policies and programs that can contribute to the improvement in the performance in the labor market. On the one end, as I've mentioned, on the supply side, we have, of course, the three agencies. But aside from improving or increasing their skills and competencies, we need to make sure that they are able to find jobs. And it is the responsibility of our public employment service offices, our frontliners on the ground that provide access to employment opportunities. These pesos help our kababayans to find jobs in the different localities, whether they are in the municipality, city, or provinces. And of course, through our pesos, they are also able to provide career development support services that guide our job seekers to prepare themselves in the world of work, whether it's in preparing how to prepare a resume or how to prepare
Mm.
for an interview. And all these preparations are provided under the Career Development Support Program. Aside from that, of course, we have our special service, no, for all our first-time job seekers. The First-Time Job Seekers Assistance Act. It's a law that provides free pre-employment documents for all our first-time job seekers. And we always advise our new entrants, our first-time job seekers, to visit your barangay offices and claim or request for a certification that you are a first-time job seeker, and you can avail of or you all your pre-employment document requirements are waived, no, in terms of their fees, and you should be able to get them for free and use them in all your applications or in your job search. And aside from that, of course, we continue to partner with our industries, private sector, to make sure that there are vacancies available for our job seekers. Part of our 5 point agenda for our pesos is to strengthen their partnership with all our employers, even with educational institutions, so that we are able to be able to bridge, no, our job seekers with these employment vacancies. So all these are enrolled, all these strategies are enrolled in our Trabaho para sa Bayan plan, and are now in the we are now starting to disseminate or to roll out this plan so that all our regional offices, all provinces are updated with the strategies enrolled in the TPB plan that will be implemented for 2025 up to 2034.
Okay, Asek, we are running out of material time. Before we let you go, do you have any final message for the viewers and listeners of the program Front and Center?
Yes, Steph, and I take this opportunity to invite all our job seekers, our kababayan, to visit our online job matching portal. That's philjobnet.gov.ph. Register in that website and create your profile account and visit and see vacancies, updated vacancies from our partner employers who post their vacancies in the website. You will also see there the list of job fair activities rolled out nationwide and the different training opportunities provided by our TechVoc institutions. Aside from that, we invite also our job seekers to visit your public employment service offices, especially those who do not have access to internet. Visit face-to-face our PESO managers and PESO staff to be able to access all these opportunities we see online. And of course, these are all part of the mandate of the Bureau of Local Employment because, of course, it's our job to make sure that all of you have jobs.
With that, thank you very much again, Asek Patri Wirawan, for joining us here in Front and Center.
Thank you, Steph.
Okay, we were just joined by OIC Assistant Secretary Patrick Patri Wirawan of the Philippine Department of Labor and Employment. And that ends today's edition of Front and Center. Until the next episode, on behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, this has been your host, Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.